I'm joined by Tom Humphries, but I don't know much more about you,
Peter?
Mr. Humphries, than that. You were in the World Trade Center on the 57th floor.
Yes.
And you walked out.
Yes.
So take us from the beginning, would you?
Well, I was sitting at my desk working on a speech I was supposed to give this afternoon, and the building was rocked by an explosion. And
which tower were you in?
I was in Tower 1.
Right.
And the next thing I knew, I saw flaming debris cascading down the side of the building. And I was in the 93 bombing,
right.
And I knew this one was a lot worse. So we went out on the floor and basically...
You worked for a business in the building?
I worked for a law firm in the building.
Right.
And basically went on the floor, tried to figure out what was going on, figure out whether we should evacuate or not. About 5 minutes into that, we decided that it was best to get out.
You were in the south. You were in the south tower.
We were in the north tower.
Sorry, in the north tower.
North tower, which is One World Trade.
Right.
Decided that it was time to get out. Our office manager heard that the plane had been, that the building had been hit by an aircraft at the 90th floor. So we assumed that the problem was above us, and that we could evacuate, and that's what folks did.
Did you think at the moment that it was a terrorist attack? Did you think it was an accident? Did you have the vaguest idea?
I had some idea there was a bombing. Having been in the 93 incident, that kind of explosion just doesn't happen normally. I didn't know what it was, but when I heard there was a plane that hit, I thought that made some sense, and I thought that it was very unlikely that any kind of plane would hit the Trade Center accidentally, you know, on a clear day. So
was there how immediate, how deep was the concern in your colleagues and out on the common halls? Was there panic at all?
No, that's the one thing. What I found is that no panic. People are concerned. People are a little apprehensive, and they want to know what to do. But both on the floor and then down the stairwell, there was no panic. And in fact, people were helping other people to an incredible degree.
Were the stairwells lighted?
Yes, this time they were. Last time they weren't. This time the stairwells were lighted. There was some smoke, but that was it wasn't nearly as bad.
Was there emergency lighting?
Yeah, there was. There was no other, you know, there were no fire or police personnel. At that point, you're on your own.
Now, you came down from the 57th floor. Were other people coming down from the floors above you and below you?
They were coming down from the floors above. There were some injured people that came down apparently from, you know, floors where this had happened. And so we saw them as well.
And how long did it take you to get out of the building?
You know, I estimate it took me 45 minutes or more to get out of the building.
And in the time that you were coming down, there was another aircraft hit the southern
Yeah,
tower.
I was on the 44th floor trying to get down, and we heard another, you know, explosion. We didn't know what it was. We again saw flaming debris, and I now know that that was the second aircraft that hit.
I think you maybe know where I'm going. You were on the 90th floor. It took you 45 minutes.
57th
floor. There were people coming down from floors above you.
Right.
Is it your sense that in at least your tower, before the tower collapsed, everybody or a large number of percentage of people managed to be evacuated?
I think a lot of people got out. First of all, it was 8:45 in the morning, so that's relatively early by New York standards.
Right.
And then secondly, the first plane that hit, there was time to get out. I think even having said that, there were a lot of people still in that building, including the fire and police personnel, that were trying to come up. So, but my sense is that I know on our floor a lot of people got out.
And as you came down, were you joined by people on other floors? Is it a common evacuation passage down through the building?
Well, the problem was there was only one stairwell open. The other stairwells were blocked by smoke. And so you had one narrow stairwell, which is what led to the delay in the evacuation. And that's why it took so long to get out.
We've told people in the rest of the country fairly regularly that 50,000 people who work in the two trade centers, and you say 8:45 in the morning is a little late for New York City.
It's a little early.
Sorry, a little early.
Yeah.
Do you have a feeling that a lot of people hadn't gone into the building at this point today?
I know in our offices, you know, we're a law firm. We start at 9:30, and a lot of people were not there yet. Some of the businesses which operate on an earlier schedule, I'm sure everybody was there.
Right.
But I think that the building wasn't as full as it could have been. If it had been 2 hours later, it would have been much worse.
And did you notice today as you went to work or as you came out that it was more sparsely populated?
It was about the same. I mean, it was It was about a normal day.
I must confess I'm amazed at how calm you are, having been through not only the 1993 bombing, but this, and walked down by yourself, and you seem perfectly calm.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Right.
So,
and how did people behave as you were evacuating?
People, I mean, that was, I saw it again 8 years ago, and I saw it today. People were incredibly calm, and they were helping other people. I fear that some of the people that were helping other people didn't make it out of that building because, you know, they stayed behind, and fire personnel. But people, there was no panic that I saw, and in that environment, you have a narrow stairwell, a lot of people, you don't know what's going on. It's a recipe for disaster, and the people are very, very calm.
Could you tell at all, from your perspective on the 57th floor, that when the aircraft hits, which we think is about the 90th floor, at least in the very top part of the building, how many floors were actually damaged at the time, or did people talk at all about the degree of damage that had been done just by the plane hitting before the building collapsed?
It was a little hard to tell. You had some people coming down from the higher floors.
So people were able to get from the higher floors down through the damaged part of the building?
Well, that I don't know.
Okay.
My sense is that they came down from floors under 90 and were able to get down above 90. I don't know. Okay. I know that in Tower 2, I talked to someone from Tower 2, and they were able to get down from around the 88th floor. They were evacuating. When our tower was hit, they were evacuating, and then their tower was hit. And even so, they were able to get down because they were on the right side of the building.
Right. And were you there when first Tower 2 and then Tower 1 collapsed?
Well, I just had exited the building, and I was out on Church Street, and the way I saw it, Tower 2 came down, the South Tower came down first, and I did see that, yeah.
And then I assume you ran.
I ran like hell.
Yeah, we've seen the video of people just running like hell in every direction to get as far away as possible.
And I think the tragedy is that the police and fire personnel that were trying to help people out of that building were right at ground zero when that happened. So you have to give them a lot of credit.
As somebody said, we've said several times today, when the folks is running one way, the police and fire department are running the other way, trying to help. Anything else aside from your survival which strikes you at this several hours after we went through this horrible experience?
Well, I mean, you know, I think everybody in this country believes we've got to find the people that did it, and we've got to deal with them. And, you know, I felt this way in 1993, and I think there is no stronger emotion. And, you know, I'm sorry, but this cannot happen in this country.
Many thanks, Tom. Really appreciate you helping us to understand. That's Tom Humphries, who works in a law firm in the Trade Tower. He was in the North Tower on the 57th floor, and he walked out, and you've heard his story.